Hello, my name is Nael. I'm a SSI dive guide and a PADI rescue diver. While we are all stuck at home during this pandemic, why not learn a new skill? The dive briefing. You do not need to be a professional diver to have to do a dive briefing. If you are just diving with your friend, that can be a powerful skill to have. Dive briefing is mainly used to introduce yourself, the dive site, and to go over some safety measures that hopefully you're not gonna have to use. I am going to break down chapter by chapter the basis of dive briefing and give you a version of how I do my dive briefing. If you prefer to read, there is a blog post with all the information in the description. Obviously, every diver has their own way of doing their dive briefing, so I encourage you to look at how other scuba divers do their dive briefing and maybe pick up what you like and incorporate it into your own dive briefing. The first point is your introduction. This is especially important if you work with a new group of divers. They don't know you and you don't know them, so they need to know they can trust you. So make sure that everybody is listening and you can see all of them. Usually I have them placed in circle in front of me, and I do that before they start to get equipped, because if they're already in their suit, and they can get quite hot and very uncomfortable, and they're not gonna listen to you. If you have non-native speaker on your group, you must be especially attentive to them. People may be too shy to ask questions or interrupt you, so be careful to their expression. If you see their eyes start getting somewhere else or they frown, that might be a sign that they are not following you, they don't understand you. So here is an example of what I do. Hello, my name is Nael, I'm your guide for today. I speak fluently French and English, and I speak a little bit of Spanish. I'll start the dive briefing. Feel free to ask me to repeat anything if I go too quickly. The second thing you're gonna talk about is the dive site. Obviously, this part is going to be different to every dive site. It's going to be easier to do every time you dive there. The major points to cover are the name, the entry and exit point, the depth, what they're gonna see, the water temperature, and such. I find it very helpful to give localization clues to what the diver are gonna see during the dive, so that they don't spend the entire dive looking for something that's gonna happen at the end of the dive. So here, an example of what I do. We are going to follow the cliff on our right shoulder, and at some point you'll see an opening with a lot of wildlife, so have your camera ready. I tend to speak a lot with my hand. I find it helpful to communicate things. For example, if they did not understand the word shoulder, the fact that I point it, put my hand on it, we end this section by telling how long the dive is going to be approximately, and that makes the perfect transition to the hand signals. You want people to tell you when they're half tank. Even if they're basic hand signal, it's very important to cover all of them. Ask your diver if they use any specific hand signals. For example, I met someone who gave level of coldness hand signals. So for example, they will say, I'm cold, level 1, 2, 3, 3 meaning I need to go up right now. That is also a very good way to keep your diver engaged with you during the dive briefing, because they can add some of their experience in that, and participating make it easier. I know in France the dive signals are not the same that in PADI and SSI. If you have foreign divers, this is a very important thing to remember. For example, in France we do the 50 balls left right there, and I think in PADI SSI you mainly do it there. So if you end up in this situation with a diver who starts saying that and you don't understand, that might be a bit confusing and dangerous. Going on the safety measures, remind them to stay safe to their body, especially if the visibility is quite low. Lost diver scenario and other safety measures depends on the dive site and condition. And at this point you can also introduce an environmental recommendation. They are also very specific to your dive site, but you can also tell them that you carry a bag for trash, maybe have a contest and offer a beer to someone who brings the most trash, something like that, if you feel comfortable doing that. And with question, if they have any, that's the perfect moment to tell them to ask question. and tell them you are available at any time if you do have questions. Remind them this is the moment to go pee. A lot of divers pee in their wetsuit, and we as dive professionals have to clean that, and that's the good. So if you can remember to pee before your dive and after the dive briefing, that's great. So here the dive briefing that I will do if I was diving in Malta, for example. Hello, my name is Nair and I will be your guide for today. The dive style that we are going to is called Hondock. It's a very shallow dive with a maximum depth of 20 meters and a nice warm temperature of 20-25 degrees Celsius. After this briefing, we are going to get equipped and head toward the beach over there with our fins on our hand. And once we're in the water, remember to inflate your jacket, we'll be able to put the fins on. We are going to start with the cliff on our right shoulder. Keep an eye on the sand where you'll see some flying fish with nice blue wings. We are going along the pipeline for most of the dive. You can also try to check underneath it. We have a lot of wildlife trying to hide in there. After 30 minutes or when someone hits the 100 bar marks, we are going slowly to take a left and exit on the pier right over there. Please make sure that you stay under the 10-meter depth as we go there because the boats come and go. During the dive, I am going to ask you if you're okay. Please respond to me with a okay sign or I am not okay and point me to where something is wrong. I cannot read your mind yet. When I ask how much air have you got left, show me your fingers or the half bottle mark. Does anyone has a PSI gauge? Yes. So reminder, you get the 1000 on the arm. Today we should have a nice clear water as always in Malta, but the sand is easy to kick, so stay next to your buddy. Who's with whom? Okay, great. On the unlikely event to an empty bottle, give me that sign. I'll give you my second regulator that's gonna hang right there, and the entire group will come up. If we are still on the beach, if we are next to the pier, we're gonna go back to the wall first and then exit on the multiple ladders over there. There is also a lot of jellyfish around here, so keep an eye on top of you, especially when you surface. In case you get stung, I have vinegar on the car. If you lose your body or the group, look around you for 1 minute and surface. Even if you see bubbles, do not go down again. There's a lot of divers there today, so it might not be our group, and we will be waiting for you at the car. If you find trash down there, because there is a lot of swimmers and boats, it's possible that we find some. You can pick it up. Be careful with the hand. I have a bag with me, so you can just make a sign, and then make sure we discard it properly on the surface. Alright, does anyone have any question? So I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. You can also share it with one of your friends and subscribe to our YouTube channel to see more scuba diving and traveling videos. If you do your dive briefing differently, please let me know in the comment section. Maybe I can learn from you as well. And I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.